Hello. Today we will go over exclusive another Tate content. He is on the newsletter. He got a post exclusive. The mages attacked me. Andrew Tate explains why the big tech tried to take him down, but he's not taken down. First, disclaimer: Tate is always right. You just have to go out in the world and see that this is true. You will actually get that he's right when you will try to explain what you learned. At that time, it will hit you. Let's see what's this post about.
Exclusive dash The Matrix attacked me. Andrew Tate explains why big tech tried to take him down. By Lucas Nolan on October 8, 2022. Andrew Tate, the self-described OG of the internet, was recently blacklisted from most major social media platforms following an outcry over his pro-masculinity message. Breitbart News sat down with Tate to explore why leftist tech platforms felt the need to silence him. Tate explains, first, they delete you and then they lie about you. That's how they attack. Breitbart News has previously reported
This is how propaganda works. Every World War went the same way.
On Andrew Tate and the apparently coordinated attempt by big tech platforms to censor him. Shortly after his blacklisting, Tate appeared on the alt-tech platform Rumble, where he enjoyed 130,000 concurrent live viewers in his first live stream on the platform. After this stream, Breitbart News spoke with Tate about his experience and big tech's attempts to silence him online in a long-form interview in which he discussed his banning, his vision of the future for social media, and advice for content creators that big tech finds objectionable. Breitbart Tech, you recently released an hour-long video debunking the allegations made against you. But this didn't seem to get as much traction as the other videos released attempting to smear you. Why do you think that is? Andrew Tate, the Matrix attacked me and they very specifically deleted anything that was positive about me, even on Google search. Anything positive was removed in real time. First, they delete you and then they lie about you. That's how they attack. Breitbart, you're not the first person that's faced this kind of mass blacklisting. Others such as Alex Jones have found themselves removed from the mainstream internet overnight. Why would you say that this happens? Tate, I think it happens because the natural human inclination is to use your power to try and affect the world in the way that you believe it should be affected. It doesn't matter if you have a very small bakery. You want your employees to listen to you and to think the way you think, and to obey you, because you are the boss. This is what makes you most competitive. So you can extrapolate this out from a small bakery to a large bakery to a town to a state to a government. To those who are above the government, they want people to think the way they're told to think. And if you do anything contrary to that, they see you as a threat to some degree. Breitbart, do you think that this mass blacklisting is coordinated, or is it just tech companies following a trend? One bans you so the other does, etc. Tate, it's absolutely and utterly coordinated. I think they all work together. The problem is, if you're banned in one place, you can speak on the other platforms. And when they ban somebody, they have to be very, very careful that they alter public consciousness in real time. They have to lie about you and convince the world that you're dangerous. If you're not deleted everywhere, you can counter their narrative. It allows you to put back some counterfire, and why would they do that? They decide to destroy you absolutely and completely.
Every war goes like that. For example, America's contribute in World War One in the way that they let his own ship to be destroyed by Germans. They knew that it would be destroyed. It was pre-planned, so the American consciousness, the propaganda will say that now America has to go to war with Germany, so they can protect those that died. But on the start, the American government let those to die.
Completely. So they make sure you can't speak anywhere so that their lies have no opposing point of view. Even the people who stick up for you will also get strikes on their accounts or have videos removed. And then they get to control the narrative and convince public sentiment that you deserve to be annihilated. Breitbart, you moved to Rumble after being banned off multiple platforms. How have you
Read
found that
this book
experience and the switch
to
to
learn more
Rumble
about it.
after operating on YouTube and Instagram? Tate, it's been amazing. The CEO himself is a friend of mine now. They've been truly amazing. They truly stand for free speech. The UI is being worked on. A lot of the features that YouTube has Rumble will soon have. But ultimately, people go to these platforms for the content. And people are tired of having watered down semi-censored content. People are tired of having pranks and jokes, and immature, childish content. They want to have serious conversations, and serious conversations are always to some degree going to offend somebody. You can't discuss any serious subject or any subject in a serious manner without a particular portion of society getting offended or not liking to hear what you have to say.
True. Read that book.
And anybody who's now serious about understanding the world and hearing uncensored points of view are looking for other places to do it, and Rumble is leading the way. And for sure, across the next 10 years, the trend is absolutely going to be YouTube on the decline, trying to hold market share with immature, uninteresting content. And Rumble on the ascend with genuine, deep looks at the world we live in today and different points of view. And that's the true nature of the world. People don't always agree. Breitbart, when you moved to Rumble, you maintained an extremely high viewership. Why do you think you didn't experience the large dip many predicted? Andrew Tate, the reason that banning me was a particular mistake of theirs is because I've been talking against the Matrix for a very long time. I've been talking about how I'm going to be banned for a very long time. I've been talking about how my
That's true.
message, they deem it dangerous because I actually want to help people for a very long time. And for that reason, all they did was prove me right. So they martyred me in a way that is different than you martyr most. They proved me completely and utterly right from head to toe. And they may have limited my ability to reach new people. But I think that's very temporary and short term, and the people who I can reach, the fans of mine, are certainly more galvanized than they've ever been. And for that reason, it's absolutely helped me in most ways. My live streams are bigger now than they've ever been on YouTube. Breitbart, do you think that there's anything you might have done differently if you knew just how poised big tech was to attack you and try and pull you down? Or would you have done everything the same way? Tate, yeah, I decided to curate parts of my message a few months ago. And that's not because I don't believe what I'm saying, or I was ever saying anything wrong. But I understand that when you have a much larger audience, you have to be a lot more particular about the way you say certain things to make sure nothing can be taken out of context. I had already made that move and made that decision about a month or two prior to the ban. But I obviously had years and years of...
Tate here is really smart. He knew that he would get popular, but to get the large audience you have to be not politically correct, and he tuned it down. I would actually stopped listening to him the last 2 months, but I realized that that's because of the large audience. I know Tate for like 2 years. Yeah. What was talking about? Oh yeah. He started he was really polarizing at the start. He tuned this down because he knew that he would be banned, and he just tried to prolong it for a bit to get even larger audience. But here he says that yeah, he knew that he'll get banned if he will like drop everything. He knew. He says that yeah, now that he's large, he cannot change the past. But even in the past, he knew that he would get big, but because it's socially acceptable, he can say that in the past he didn't knew that he'll get big, even though he planned all of that. This point, you have to know that he know what he says, and he just tried to a little bit softened, because you cannot say that directly on the internet. Otherwise, he would be like banned. No, the broader public would say that he's just a dickhead because he knew. But that's how the world works. Now everyone forgets. For example, Corona. Everyone knows that it's bad, but no one can say anything. Like I even can say this coronavirus, or for example, in the war, read the book The Creature from the Jekyll Island. Everyone knows that Anyone that's smart knows that money is not real, that Federal Reserve is printing money outward. Yeah, but nobody can say about it because like Aaron likes money, and yeah, read the book.
Old content which was already up there.
Yeah, read the book. I could talk for an hour or two about that, but it's better if you just read the book. You get more from it.
I'm not apologizing for the things I've said. I'm not saying I said things wrong. But I do understand that with a larger platform, you have to be slightly more careful with the delivery. However, I like to live true to myself. I'm not someone who was created from YouTube. I'm not a YouTube kid. I'm not the Paul brothers or any of these other big YouTubers. I don't need YouTube to survive. I have a very good life. And ultimately, I like to go to bed at night, knowing that I'm speaking what's truly on my mind. And I'm not cowering in fear and overly censoring myself out of fear of the repercussion. I believe the things I say are good for the world and good for men and good for masculinity as a whole. And my conscience means more to me than any YouTube account. And I'm not going to sit and lie to the world and say things that I don't truly believe. I'm not a sellout like all the other YouTube creators. But I think we've reached a point now where anyone who has a large YouTube channel and retains it in the coming years is advertising the fact that they are a sellout. There's no other way to retain a large YouTube channel without being a sellout to some degree. Either avoiding topics altogether or giving false opinions on said topics. And I don't want to sell my soul for money. That's not something I'd ever do. Breitbart News. Have any other creators that have featured you or mentioned you in a positive light been affected by strikes, demonetization, or other negative actions? Tate. Even today, I got 10 different messages from people who put up parts of my podcasts where I'm talking positively about women or talking about how to make money or how to go to the gym and train. And they get it removed and receive a strike on their Instagram account. Anything about me that isn't negative is deleted. They are trying to control public sentiment. You are only allowed to insult me on the internet. You are not allowed to say good things about me.
You're a piece of shit, Tate.
It's truly unfair.
You're a piece of
because
shit.
I am an
You're a
iron-minded
fucking
individual
divorce
and I'm a
for the
capable
government.
human. I do not let these things affect me because I am a professional.
You are the fucking
But if you're
worst
the
guy
average
for
woman
the
or the average
government.
man,
Government
lose
fucking
all your
hates you.
social
You're
media
divorced
accounts.
for
Your ability
the
to defend
government.
yourself is
And you are
destroyed.
divorced
The
for
media
the
continues to lie
society. You
about
are
you in massive media
divorced.
spin, which is purely
If
negative.
you want to be
Your
a
friends and
good,
family are
friendly,
targeted and
nice
threatened.
guy, you
Your
cannot
bank
listen
account
to
is
them.
deleted. Your Discord account is deleted. Your Stripe account is deleted, and your ability to make money is impaired. And then they only allow bad things to be said about you on the internet. That takes a
You
serious
suck.
mental toll on the average human. I'm lucky I'm in a fortunate situation where I am not fearful to walk the street. I know that even if some psycho comes up and says I'm bad, I can deal with it because I'm a capable human, but most men, most people can't even walk around knowing they're hated. You know it's a genuine security risk, and is a genuine threat. There are crazy people out there, and if you're telling the entire world I'm genuinely evil, there's gonna be real world repercussions to that, and obviously, none of this is considered by the social media companies because they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about me or my life or anything bad that happens to me, and if I get stabbed to death on the street by some psycho, they're gonna pretend they had nothing to do with it. But when you paint a man as a villain who's not a villain, you have a big part to play in that.
For example,
Breitbart.
the government
Some
didn't know
online
that the
personalities
the
such as
ship will
Jake
be
Paul have
bombed
sort of defended you,
when it went to the German
saying even
territory.
if people don't like what you say, the censorship you've faced is worrying. Have any other creators reached out to offer their support? Tate, I'll be perfectly honest with you, there's been a lot of people who stood up and said something. Keemstar stood up, loads of people stood up and said this is absolutely crazy. So a lot of people know that censorship is dangerous for the world and they sit up, but obviously there's been ones who cucked out and towed the party line. Logan Paul, Jake Paul's brother, was a complete coward and sold his soul. So some people are complete cowards and some people stand up and say they know what's wrong. And yeah, it certainly has taught me the most enlightening part of this whole experience is showing me which creators on the internet actually have morals and believe what they say and which ones are just simply telling party lines and they are owned completely and they read from the hymn sheet. Breitbart, you've previously talked about having a multi-stage plan to take over the internet. Can you give us any insight to how that might have changed following recent events? Tate, I always knew an attack like this was going to come because of the level of influence I built. Stage 1 was to conquer the world and conquer the internet, which I did. As I was saying on a recent podcast, it's a 3-stage plan. I don't want to say exactly what Stage 2 and Stage 3 are. However, I certainly goaded the attack to a degree because I knew it was always going to come. And I had to show the world that I cannot be killed. So I believe that every single bullet inside of the clip has now been fired at me. They cannot print the same stories again. They cannot tell the same lies again. They can't ban me twice. So they've shot everything they can at me. The bullets have landed and yet I'm still alive. And now Stage 2 can begin. So I goaded the attack to a degree. I survived it like I knew I would. I'm now more bulletproof and more difficult to hurt than ever before. I'm indefatigable. I do not get demotivated, do not give up. That's not who I am as an individual.
Actually, yeah, he's playing
so
a
now
war.
the Matrix has no more weapons to fire against me. And for that, I'm gonna put Stage 2 and Stage 3
He's
into
everything I
action
wish that
across
I
the
was
coming
when I was
months.
younger.
Breitbart, what is your prediction for the future of social
I
media and
imagined
the
how the
online
world would
space?
attack me,
Do you
and
believe
he's
we'll see
exactly
more of this sort of
like this.
censorship, or will people eventually rebel? Tate, I think that every single monopoly since the dawn of time has believed that it has complete and utter power and will never face a serious rebellion, right? It doesn't matter. Every empire, the Mongol Empire, the Roman Empire, all of them thought we have the world under control now. There's never going to be a revolt. We're too good, we're too fair, we're too noble, and it's just hubris. It's the natural human inclination to have absolute arrogance. If they continue to show the world they are unfair, on a long enough time frame, there will be a rebellion. And every single time they ban somebody like me, who doesn't deserve to be banned, it's another penny in the jar. It's going to fill up, and it's going to be taken to the bank. And it's just a matter of time until that happens. I hope I'm alive to see it. I actually believe it's coming in the next few years. People are going to be looking for truth, and if they understand they can't get truth on your platform, they're going to go somewhere else. Breitbart, do you have any advice for young creators that want to make content that big tech may find objectionable? Tate, absolutely. You need to build your house on stone. You can't build your house on sand. And although YouTube may be tempting, because you get more views at the beginning, you have to also understand you can be nuked or wiped off the face of the planet at any time. And it doesn't matter if you build up a bunch of views and do well for a year when you can get completely nuked, censored and destroyed. I would always build in a place I know my work is always going to exist. I think that's a sensible thing to do for yourself. And at least do it on both, right? You can have a video and you can put it on both YouTube and Rumble. And then what I would do personally is I would put up a video on YouTube, which is obviously to a degree censored. And I'd put at the end, for the uncensored version, go to my Rumble channel, and get my serious fans moving over to Rumble.
Tate bought the stock
And
of
from
the
there,
Rumble,
you
and
have
he's
a
promoting it.
contingency, which is fully fledged and ready to operate
He's
in the
smart.
event of a mass banning event across the Matrix-led platforms.
He's selling his
And
own.
you certainly need to hedge your bets. Anyone who is only purely on YouTube and is not adding their bet to this point is at best irresponsible and at worst an idiot. Breitbart, what advice would you have for young men existing in the world today? Andrew Tate, you have to understand that, as a young man, you're the most valuable population, the most valuable demographic for the people of the world to control because you are the biggest threat. And you're also the largest asset. You're the backbone of the slave force. You're the backbone of the military. You're the backbone of the difficult jobs. And you're also the people who can get together and start a revolution. Because you're the people who are combat ready. It's the men who are the problem. So you have to understand that they are trying very, very hard to program you as a man, specifically. You must resist the slave mind. Every single thing you consume, that the Matrix purports and wants you to consume, has been designed or created in a way that they believe is going to affect you in the way that they want. And they do not want you combat ready and individualistic. They do not want you to think for yourself. They do not want you to be smart and happy in content. They want you to be semi-depressed and easy to control and weak and malleable. So you need to be very, very concerned with what you're consuming. And all of it is poison. Every single thing that Matrix is reporting upon you is mind poison, without exception. Breitbart, what sort of advice would you give older people who may not have heard of you before or are hearing your message for the first time? Tate, The older people have a responsibility as well to understand that to a degree the world has changed and the things they believed and the things that worked for them won't work for the youth of today any longer. But also to be responsible enough to try and educate the youth and explain. Listen, I don't know exactly what you're being told. Perhaps in school, it may be different than when I was being told, well, I don't know what you're reading on the news or on YouTube, it may be different than when I was told. But let me tell you all the times I was lied to. Let me tell you about all the times they told me that war was happening that shouldn't have been happening. Let me tell you about all the times the news said something happened that didn't happen at all. Let me explain to you that I've been lied to my entire life. And I don't think these people have changed their playbook. And you need to look very carefully at the story that you're being told and understand the situation. How does that story make you feel? And why did they want you to feel that way? Is that story even true? Andrew Tate is still banned across Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube but can be found at Rumble here. Lucas Nolan is a reporter for Breitbart News covering issues of free speech and online censorship. Follow him on Twitter at Lucas Nolan.
Great post. See you tomorrow with the next tweet.